Well, I think you'll all be wondering why I'm wearing a holiday shirt this early in the year, and it's because I'm not on holiday. No, but I have gone on a little virtual holiday to the lovely island of Tropico. Or at least when I went on holiday to the island of Tropico, I somehow became the Presidente of the island, as I have done several other times in my life. And also, this is not the launch of this channel, by the way, or it's kind of the launch of this channel, but it's not really the launch of a proper Series 2 of Alex's gaming library. But that is happening soon. This is just a little interim video in the in-between, in a way, while we get through a messy launch of a channel because I have so little time on my hands, but hey. No, this is just a little review of the open beta that came out for Tropico 6 very recently. It was just during the course of last week. It came available for 2 days, but if you've already pre-ordered the game, then hey, you're probably still playing it right now, and you can get access if you do pre-order at this moment in time. The game's release is imminent now with just under 2 weeks to go. But I decided I wanted to give my thoughts on the open beta for Tropico 6, so is it good? Is it bad? Well, let's go and take a little look.
Tropico 6 builds up from and blends the expanded features of the previous 2 Tropico games to create what feels like the most immersive Tropico game to date. The first impressions of the game were great, with the ever-present Latin soundtrack to keep you pepped up and a bright and vibrant experience which made the island look less like a dictator hellhole and more like an island paradise. And while there isn't a full day-night cycle, the sunsets and sunrises that happen every now and then look fantastic and really put my mind in that environment of paradise. The satirical and bizarre humour remains present through your loyal if intellectually challenged assistant Penultimo, foreign powers who pretend to be friendly when it suits their interests, and the many factions of Tropican citizens, with the caricature style portraits which now look more human and less creepy like the ones used in Tropico 4, but still maintaining a unique artistic style. So in my 6 hours of playing the beta, what really stood out about Tropico to make it a really great Caribbean politics simulator / city building game? Well, while the factions and powers are sometimes quite abrupt in suddenly appearing on your screen rather than the older way of missions queuing up outside your palace, the opportunities and request system feels like a much more integral part of running the island rather than just sudden opportunities for you to use to your own ends, as ignoring missions will now have negative effects in regards to relations with foreign powers and citizen factions. One of the most interesting features were the duel requests which pop up every now and then, and it's where 2 rival factions are vying for your attention but only one can be helped. And if no one can be helped, then, you know, you can do that if you enjoy having everyone on your island hate you. But taking these missions on really does help you ultimately try to influence the political climate of your island, especially thanks to the multiple reward system in place when successfully completing these tasks. The politics is also emboldened with the constitution system returning from Tropico 5, which really allows you to write the constitution of your island once independence is declared. The constitution has multiple articles to populate, but initially you'll only be able to set an armed forces and voting policy, and the rest are unlocked through progression of time and research. Once again, each article has 3 possible choices, which have varying effects on the core aspects of your nation and the way you govern, and can only be changed once you win an election. But then, it seems after you win your first election, you seem to be able to amend it as you please, which doesn't really seem very right. Election speeches also make a return to the series, which allows you to set the agenda for the election campaign by addressing issues, currying favour with factions and foreign powers, and making empty promises, except those promises aren't so empty anymore, as you'll be strictly monitored on how well you perform on delivering your election promises, and failure will have its consequences. I love the idea of having to follow through on these, as you don't have to do it, but you know, that's if you don't mind dealing with the breakdown of trust. But I did find the speeches given by my Presidente to be quite flat, and I didn't really seem to draw much of a crowd, sadly. In fact, the election process as a whole doesn't feel as strong as the ones in previous games. It might be due to the one election I held was more or less of a done deal for me, since I hadn't really totally ruined the island yet, but I found it to be quite difficult to access key information regarding elections such as projected votes. And while there is now a spot on the UI which is constantly providing a forecasted vote percentage, I honestly prefer the election chart used in the first Tropico game, which gave me a view on how many die-hard voters I had and how many may swing away if I made a wrong step. Hopefully the election UI is fixed up a bit before the full release, but the UI in general is very well done, with every tool quickly accessible and easy to keep track of new developments with a watchful eye. Though the minimap seems to be non-existent now, which is a bit of a shame to see go, as it is a useful assistant to the lovely data view overlay, which look fantastic and offer the ability to look at on-the-spot values of any location in the island. And they are used quite a bit for some missions as well. Getting back to the Presidente, there's now even more customization on offer in Tropico 6, with multiple cool outfits with more colour picking power, and also the ability to now customize a palace to give it the most important building on the island more flair and personality. It's not the most in-depth and intense customization in the world, but it's still got a fair few options for people of varying tastes, and I suspect the inevitable sack full of DLC that will come out for this game will add more in the future. However, it seems to have come at the price of a personality-free Presidente, who can now have only one trait at a time, which provides a relevant benefit or penalty. But come on, we used to have Presidentes with many traits, and now we have Mr. Blandidente. I really hope this one is changed before release, as I like to mix and match my traits to create either the perfect Presidente or one who ruins everything he touches. But if you want people to ruin everything for you, the Ministry is back to have people look after various aspects of your government, and candidates can now be sponsored by factions to provide various effects. As far as I played, the Gaffs and Windfall system from Tropico 4 doesn't seem to be back, but I do kind of hope it is, because as annoying as it was, having something bizarre and unexpected happen really does spice up the day-to-day running of the island. El Presidente's adventuring days do seem to be over though, as there is no campaign for Tropico 6, and instead it's just a collection of missions picked from various points in El Presidente's life. In one way, I do like this, as the campaign mode of Tropico 4 did stretch my suspension of disbelief in how one man could be dictator of so many islands in one lifetime and pull off so many escapades. But on the other hand, I appreciate how linear campaigns build up the features and difficulties of the missions over time. It's really down to a matter of taste and opinion, but the missions in Tropico 6 are really fun and pretty long to create a self-contained narrative with some interesting special conditions ranging from increased crime to losing the ability to build residential buildings. The mission I tried during the beta was really good, with plenty of tasks to keep me busy and relevant side opportunities and multiple avenues of success popping in every now and then, and it really helped me to bend the designs of others to my own benefit. Though one complaint that I do have about all of this, and it is a really random one that has been present for a few Tropico games, is the weird way in which you are briefed on a mission or opportunity by one of these characters who all have fantastic voice acting power behind them, but they only ever read out the first paragraph of the briefing text and that's it. This has always struck me as really weird, and I was hoping that this would be the Tropico title that finally stopped this weird practice, but alas, that is not the case. The last things I want to touch on in this mini review is the Raids and Archipelago system, which has now expanded the reach of El Presidente to cover multiple islands, and this opens up many new avenues for strategy and creativity. I was getting some real City Skylines vibes with the new transport and infrastructure options available, and the little experimentation I've had has been pretty fun, from outsourcing my farms and mining to a little island, or building my own Alcatraz to keep the convicts out of town. I didn't really have the time to fully explore this feature, sadly, but at initial glance and minor usage, it works well, and Tropicans behave the way they're supposed to when navigating your island paradise. Another fun new feature is raids and acquiring landmarks. From the beginning of the game, you can set up a pirate cove, which when operational builds up raid points for you to spend on missions such as finding exotic goods to sell, rescuing shipwrecked immigrants, or even pulling off the grandest of heists, stealing a world landmark. A lot of these raids and missions can bring about positive effects for Tropico, or hold back negative ones such as rebel raids or superpower invasions, and the landmark heists, while lengthy and often full of issues caused by Penultimo, can net you a building which brings powerful upgrades to your island alongside a huge tourism boost. This is a feature that I really love, since it encapsulates Tropico's witty sense of humour and is a really unique way to pursue grand projects on the island. To wrap it all up in a nice neat little bow, however, I summarise fussily that Tropico 6 is looking to be a very fun game with many great features and a few shortfalls, which have been sadly prevalent throughout the series rather than the game, but there are a few that are unique to this title. but I genuinely think this could be my favourite Tropico game, which I know sounds rich from a guy who has now basically only played exactly half of the Tropico games to any great length, but this is another refinement in a series that started strong and just keeps getting stronger. Hopefully this term in office will be a long and successful one, if the one or two niggles are ironed out before El Presidente sits his mighty buttocks in a seat of power on March 29th, 2019. That's provided you slip in £40 though to let you tag along, but it's on sale right now on Steam to pre-order and gain access to the beta right up until launch, and I say go for it. You're in for a real Caribbean treat. Thank you very much for watching this little mini review of Tropico 6 with me, folks. And yeah, I would like to know if you've played a beta, what were your thoughts on it? Was it good? Was it bad? Are you planning on pre-ordering the game? I'm still very tempted to do it myself. I'm just kind of a bit low on money right now, unfortunately. But really, thank you very much and see you next time.